All right, guys, so we are getting the hydraulic cylinders resealed. And I've got a machine shop that will reseal them, and I've got the seal packs because I don't like to do that part. But to save time and money, I take the cylinders off myself and send them to them. That way I'm just paying them for the labor of replacing the seals and opening them up and closing them. And we're able to get the blade off, the blade cylinder off, really easy. And the swing cylinder right there, we were able to get off on that side really easy. However, the other side of the swing cylinder is right there, and there's a hydraulic tank, and I can't press against it. I try to pry bar as much as I was willing to pry against it without damaging the tank, and I'm just not going to do that anymore because you know, I can't risk damage to the tank. So it's right under here, and we've got the bolt out, okay, but I can't get anything to start pulling it. So we got a trick that I've done. I've used it many times. So to give you a better look at what this pin looks like, it looks like this, okay. So what we're going to be doing is, I am in my neighbor's shop because it's winter and they're super nice. In the past, when this has happened, what I have done is I've taken a piece of I think it's 3/4 inch rod, and I've welded, because this does not have a zerk here, so I've welded rod, and then I put something across it and a washer and a nut, and I tighten the nut, which essentially draws this out. And so this is going to work decently here, because if you look, there's recessed, right? So if I weld a bolt to that and I put something across the chassis, okay, and start tightening it, it's going to suck it out, if that makes sense. And we can use a bolt or a board if it's not too tight, to continue giving us more and more depth, to continue sucking it out. So that's what we're going to have to do with this. Other option would be to take the hydraulic tank off. If you've been watching our other videos, you know we just serviced that, so we're not doing that. So we'll suck it out the bottom. I wish we could just be able to hit it from the top, but we're not doing that with the cylinders. So this is a pretty cool technique, and it's something I've used on the tractor. I've used on the skid loader. Another way you can use this technique, let me just show you real fast. So let's say you have a pin like this, okay, and it's stuck, all right? You can weld a rod on it, okay, and then you can put a piece of pipe, like a big piece of pipe that goes around here, okay, and you can have the rod through the pipe, big washer, and a nut. You tighten it down, tighten it down, tighten it down, tighten it down. What you're doing is, because the pipe is around this, you're sucking that into the pipe, and that's what I've done in the past. So it's the same technique that we're using over here. It will work. I'll try to catch it all on video. As you know, it's super tight quarters here. Do what I can. We should be able to show you this. So stay tuned. We don't have a bench vise, so I'm just going to use this. This is marking how long our rod can be. The tracks are going to be in the way, so we can't be super long, but we can pull it out some. So that's where I'm going to cut against. Just going to do what I can to make it as straight as possible. We're going to go ahead and cut this completely off and start again. I'll measure this piece here and use it to figure out what I want to do. So I got a new cutting blade. I went back to my house to put this on a vise, and we're going to get this cut. I'm going to move this over my grinder wheel real quick. So we tapered this end a little bit. Somewhere in one of my pockets I have a nut for this. I did have a nut, it's in the truck. Okay, so that's gonna be our weld end. The threads are messed up there. I'm gonna come back. This piece is not that hot. I prefer to use a fresh end right there. We're gonna cut that off right there. Just doing that to mark that. but not that crazy. I'm gonna clean that up with the grinder. Alright, so here's what I'm doing. I'll just lock this in here, and this is the end I'm going to be welding, so I'm just making sure that I can get it going. I don't care if I mess up this end of the thread, because it's going to be what has the weld bead on it. As long as I get all the way through the nut, I can live with it. It's always best to use the fresh end. So I'm through. Okay, so we're going to be alright with that. I'm going to back this off, and we're going to take this piece back over to the excavator. Okay, so that was really difficult to weld, as I'm sure you can imagine. This is like the most difficult location that one of these could ever be in. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance that footage may not be great. I know you saw me weld without my mask on, but I was not actually looking anywhere near it. My eyes were completely protected by the cab of the machine. So I just was trying to get a somewhat of a bead on that, at least on 3 sides. Normally what I try to do is three good beads, like a kind of like a triangle around it. And I don't know that that's going to work. That could pull loose. Ow! That was dumb. But I think it'll work. So now what we're going to do, I think I'm going to use a 2x4 and drill a 3/4 inch hole in it and put a washer on the other side of the nut. And start screwing that. So I'm gonna go find a 2x4 and I'll be right back. So I got a couple washers here. Okay, cut a 3/4 inch. Now we're only gonna be to suck this in the distance of this piece right here. That's all we're gonna until we add more to it, and we may not have room to add more to it. So but we're gonna, I don't know if we will, but we'll get that in there. What I did is I just cut this down. Also, because I only had a table saw, I couldn't do quite the 4 inches, so I just cut this way too, so that I had a smaller board. Obviously, we're no longer centered, but that'll be okay. So, what we do here is that for the most, to spread it out the weight, and then that on top, and that's if we have enough. We may not have enough. So I'm gonna, in this instance, I'm gonna get rid of the small one. So here's our 1 1/8. Righty tighty. Now if I bust this, I'll be done for the day, because I gotta run the Tractor Supply still. When I mean busted, I mean the break the weld. I do believe we pulled it some out, just from looking at the nut, or where this retaining bolt was. I know I got a real good weld on that. I feel like I do, at least. They weren't a weld. I did try to get that a stronger weld this time. I went around more of its surface that I could get to. I'm going to take this retainer screw back out. We're going to put this board back in. We're going to put the washer back on and get the nut back on. I'm just using the gloves to kind of protect me a little bit from the heat. Alright, let's see how much we can draw this out. I'm gonna try to, while I've got the tension on that, put a little more tension on it. Okay. I'm gonna try to beat on it a little bit. I'm gonna go find some metal I can use, probably at the machine shop, that I can use in lieu of that wood. That wood's being sucked into the hole. Usually I do this with metal, typically with pipe. We can't use pipe in this instance, but we got some square metal tubing, as you can see, and we're just tightening this down. And trying to pull that out. And I feel like we're getting somewhere. We might just break the bolt off again. We're just gonna go slow and see what we can get here. I can tell we're drawing it out because I don't have as much of a nipple on the top of that anymore. So it's definitely working. Just a matter of when do we get to re-weld the... We're basically at flush to where the most we can get out of it in the current setup. Alright, so we're going to back this off. Now I need to find something to hold underneath here. Here and here. Might try a nut. It's got to be metal. Normally you would have a longer bolt. We are going to use a crescent wrench. Like so. And we're just spacing it down so that we can pull it more. And you'll have to get kind of creative on what you use. Alright, we're all the slack. That's all the slack we got. Now normally you'd have a much bigger, much longer bolt if it was like a bushing somewhere else. Now that we've got this, we're going to back off as much as I can with keeping this started. Now we're going to try for these nuts. And here we go. Got tension on it. Keep on drawing it out some more. This is my favorite technique for a stuck pin. It's just really clever. They make a press, some sort of special bottle jack that has a hole in it to do this same thing, but they're really expensive, and so this just simulates that design. Yeah, we're going easy now. You can really tell when you start to feel like you're going to break the bolt, you know that feeling, then you know you might have to re-weld, but this is going so easy, it's drawing out so easy that I'm not going to have to get to there. In fact, we're up on it again, so now I got to loosen this, and we're not going to be able to do this more than one more time. But we've got it out. Yeah, see how that is? We're going to see now, with us getting that started, we're going to see if I can get up here. Okay. Now that we know we can move that, I'm going to go get a grinder, and I'm going probably the cutting wheel again, and we're gonna cut this off level so that we can take this away, because now we're stuck on the tracks. But you get the idea of how we basically just drew that completely out. And I think we're out of the stuck area, the fact that we move so easy. So we're gonna cut that and we'll be right back. Let me show you how you would use this technique on this pin. Okay, you wouldn't do it on that side because it's grease fitting. Okay, you would do it on this side. Let's just say this is stuck, right? You weld a rod on here. I've got a piece of pipe. You set the pipe right there. You've got your bolt that goes all the way through. You put a big old washer around the end and a nut. You tighten, 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 basically sucking this into the tube. That will work anywhere you have space. Would have worked there, would have worked there, work on these guys. Here you would use, you wouldn't be able to use a pipe here, but you get the point. You could use square tubing. You know, if you can get this turned, use big square tubing against that. But you're sucking it out. That's why I keep this in my welding box, because that's what we predominantly use this for. All right, so we're gonna go cut this. Wow, look at what we got. New grind wheel too. All right, well, Sawzall it is. We'll be right back. We're back with our handy dandy Sawzall. Okay, where are our mini vice grips? Okay, here we go. Alrighty, there we go. I'm gonna see how much of this we can get out. I prefer to grind this all the way off. I can't get a grinder in. I don't know if we can get the pin all the way out or not. We'll see how much of this we can get out. Well, there we go. Now for the fun trick, we're past the little ring thing, so I believe we have a free cylinder. I don't think we're still in there. No, we're not. I didn't think so. All right, so we got that out. So now we got to disconnect the lines, which we're not going to show on this video. This is just going to be about getting that stuck pin out. We're going to disconnect the lines, and I'm going to push that back up in there. And I'll get that the rest of the way off with a Dremel or some other tool, and we'll leave that there for now. But that is how you can remove a stuck pin on a hydraulic cylinder. Even in the tightest of places where you have 4 inches of clearance without taking the track off, we were able to use this technique to get out a seized pin. Now, we were not able to hammer on from the top without removing the hydraulic cylinder. So this took under an hour total. I had to go to the store for a drill bit, I had to go get some welding stock, but in terms of sitting here and doing it, it took under an hour. All right, thanks for watching. So that's how we remove a hydraulic pin that's stuck. It was pretty easy. I've used that technique 4 or 5 times on stuck pins. On machines I've acquired, I usually keep my pins greased enough that if I've had it out or had the machine for a while, I don't really have a stuck pin, but pretty much every new machine I get, or well, used, new to me, has at least 1 or 2 stuck pins that I end up using this on. So definitely like and subscribe, and we'll continue bringing more videos of things we do on the farm. Thanks.